After finishing Dead Space for the first time in 2025, I wanted to take a step back and think about what actually makes a game horrifying. Not just the monsters or the blood or the jump scares, but the ideas behind it. Because even though I never really felt scared while playing, there's something deeply unsettling buried inside the game. Something that feels a little too close to reality. At first glance, Dead Space looks like your standard sci-fi horror game. You've got the dark corridors, the flickering lights, and the monsters that come out of vents screaming. The Necromorphs themselves are humans who've been reshaped into grotesque creatures, a concept alone that should be terrifying. But the more I played, the less I was afraid of the monsters. The jump scares became predictable, the gameplay felt intense but not terrifying. I didn't feel like I was in real danger at all. What did keep me thinking though was why all of this was happening. That's when the horror started to change. As I dug deeper into the story, I realized the most disturbing thing about Dead Space isn't what's chasing you. It's what people believe in. Unitology. At first, it sounds like a typical sci-fi religion, worshipping some strange alien artifact called a marker. But as the story unfolds, you start to see how deep the faith runs. People aboard the Ishimura weren't just victims. Many of them were believers. They didn't fear the transformation into necromorphs. They welcomed it. To them, the marker was the divine instrument. The infection wasn't death, it was rebirth, a new form of eternal life. They saw the spreading madness and mutation as the next step for humanity. That's the real horror. It's not the creature, it's the faith. Because when belief becomes obsolete, when people are willing to give up everything, even their humanity, you no longer need monsters. And that's when Dead Space begins to mirror something in our own world. Unitology clearly draws inspiration from Scientology, a real-life belief system that's been surrounded by controversy for decades. Scientology was founded in the 1950s by L. Ron Hubbard, and it teaches that humans are immortal spiritual beings. The goal is to achieve spiritual freedom through a process called auditing, a kind of counseling session designed to remove negative experiences from your past lives. But those sessions come at a cost, often a literal one. Members must pay to move through the church's ranks, climbing levels of spiritual enlightenment that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some followers even sign what's known as a 1 million year contract, a symbolic promise to serve the church not only in this life, but in every life to come. It's not a metaphor, it's a written, lifelong pledge. And that's where the parallels to Unitology become clear, both promising meaning, immortality, and a higher state of existence. Both use secrecy, hierarchy, and devotion to keep followers loyal, and both have been accused of manipulating belief into control. In Dead Space, the control is absolute. Unitology drives entire crews to madness. It convinces people that becoming part of the Necromorph hive mind is salvation. It's chilling because it's not that far from how real cults work. They prey on loneliness, on fear, and on the human need for belonging. And that's the heart of Dead Space. It's not about surviving the dark. It's about understanding what happens when belief itself becomes the darkness. The marker, much like any symbol of blind faith, promises transcendence, but delivers only control. And the people who fall for it don't realize that they've given up their freedom in exchange for something they can never truly understand. So looking back at Dead Space, it's not just a horror game. It's a reflection on how faith can twist, how devotion can consume, and how easy it is for people to give everything to something that promises meaning. The Necromorphs may be fiction, but the devotion that created them, that's pretty real. Sometimes, the real horror isn't what's waiting in the shadows. It's what we're willing to believe just to feel like we belong.